So we're in the 2016 Nissan Maxima. I've been looking forward to trying this one actually, because ever since I've seen it at the shows, pictures, and on the road, it's a really striking looking car. I really like the look of this car. I think it's really something quite spectacular, something quite different. Nissan themselves call it the four-door sports car. And wasn't there a Maxima in the 90s that was referred to as a four-door coupe? I think though this is the best looking Maxima of the entire range. I mean, just look at the difference between the previous gen with that very bluff front end to this one with its swoopy lines. Talking of which, check out the front. You've got that V motion front, that sort of the way the grille sort of comes down at the front there, and the boomerang headlights around it. Moving to the side of the car, you have these the incredible kick up at the C-pillars, the swoopy lines that give it a very muscular stance, a very muscular look about the car, and the floating roof appearance. Now it is a bit of a trick because the C-pillars are completely solid, but they have the strip there that suggests that the roof is disconnected slightly with the rest of the car. At the back you have the dual exhaust chrome tipped tailpipes, which make it look again meaty and sporty, and you get the diamond cut machine finish wheels, 18-inch or 19-inch on this top of the range model. Of course, the press car, we normally get the top of the range car, and this is the SR model. I'll come to the prices and stuff in a minute. The boot's pretty generous. You can always got pretty wide opening, very deep, split folding rear seats. There's a couple of little hooks there that you can pull, a little loop so you can pull, and the seats that helps to put the seats down, and some underfloor space, but not a huge amount, but generally quite useful rear luggage space. So how's the rear compartment? Could I sit in there? I'm a little on the tall side and I'm sitting up here in the front. I'll tell you what, let's use the magic of video to go back there and find out. Wow, amazing how that works, isn't it? So here I am. It's not too bad at all. I mean, I am 6'2", and this seat is set for me, so I'm sitting behind myself, and no real issue at all. Knee room is no issue whatsoever. Leg room isn't too bad. Feet, just about enough room to get the feet under the seat. There's a flap here that kind of disguises the actual amount of room that's available. Door pockets as you'd expect. 2 AC vents here, which is quite nice, and an ashtray arrangement, but don't smoke. Smoking is bad for you. In the middle here we have an armrest with 2 cup holders and a little slot there, I suppose, to put pens and things or something if you like. Not too much else back here, no USBs or anything like that. Nice trim, very comfortable. Headroom could probably do with a little bit more, but that's what you would expect considering the car's coupe-like profile and its sloping roof, so that kind of makes sense. But having said that, it's not intolerable. We do get a sunroof back here as well, a sunshade. The roof doesn't open, but the the sunshade opens, so that's quite nice. But all in all, not a bad place at all to spend a few hours. I wouldn't mind traveling in the back here. I think time to get back into the front though. Well, wow, and suddenly I'm back in the front, and I'm holding my notebook as well. So we have in the front, I want to talk about quite a few things. The interesting thing is that in the press release it says that the inspiration for the cabin here, for this cockpit if you like, and you see why I use that term in a minute, came from the Blue Angels at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola in Florida in America. So this is apparently, it's styled according to a jet fighter. That's the idea. So it's a very driver focused environment. Down to this controller down here, which they actually call it the display commander control. All it is a rotary knob thing, which you can see this massive screen here that they've got, and it affects or you basically can control it from there. So you just turn it and you can scroll through all the various things. I like this. This is a very different, very unique way of doing it. It's different from other manufacturers. I hope you can see that. But not only can you use the knob, but you can actually, it's a touch screen, and you can actually just swipe or just press the buttons. And talking of swipe, it's actually a capacitive screen as well. So actually you can just swipe and pinch and all that stuff as well. Interestingly, no app connector yet on this car. I think they're probably geared up to accept it at some point in the future. But you know, it's very well thought out. Good, lots of features. I use used the sat nav as well, worked very, very well. Very easy to use. I had my Bluetooth connected up to that. Good sound system, no issues there whatsoever. And in addition to the touch and the knob and the buttons that you down here, back menu, map, voice control, you have them up here as well, and you have them up here on this side too. Now, interesting, this is a good thing. This has got a 360 surround camera view thing, which, you know, this is an Infiniti in the mass market production segment, amongst the pioneers of this stuff. And I like what they've done here as well. Not the fact that it's got that, because a lot of cars have that, but normally the only way to get into these systems is either go into reverse gear or go through the menu to get these cameras. Sometimes you're in a car park or trying to negotiate ramp and you quickly want to judge distances, and I like the fact that there's a camera, but there's a button there. So you just, as soon as you hit the button, there it goes. It goes straight up to camera, and that's a really handy feature. I like that. Now look, and there's a car passing. Isn't that good? So there you go. Climate control, very good, no issues there. There's a starter button, transmission, which I'll come to in a minute. There's two buttons here for normal and sport. I think they just affect the power delivery and the characteristics of the transmission. Heated cool seats, two cup holders, a smaller one, a larger one. This is just a compartment, not really an ashtray, but just a compartment with a power supply in there. Deep cubby bin, very deep cubby bin, I hope you can see. And there's two USBs down there and an aux, which is very handy. Nice quilted leather seats, very nice trim, but then this is a top of the range car. Traction button down there, and nice trim on the door, as you'd expect. The instrument panel I quite like. I mean, two regular dials on each side and a center screen is the digital part of this arrangement. Very handy. Over here on the right side of the steering, and the flat bottom steering, a sporty steering wheel, as you'd imagine, you have the controls for the cruise, and it is adaptive cruise control or dynamic cruise control, so you can set the distance. On this side, you've got the buttons. So if I press one of these buttons, you'll see that I can then adjust the settings there to go through, you know, navigation, trip computer, driving aids. It's got all the usual sort of stuff, tire pressure sensors, and I quite like that. It's a little power bar as well, which I quite like, so that's quite handy. This thing, the iPhone 6 Plus, is proving to be a little bit too big for this cup holder here, so there isn't really anywhere else here to put it. But so anyway, but when I connect it to the USB cable, I can just sort of sit it there when there's no bottle, and it's generally fine. What else can I tell you? It's got zero gravity seats with an added foam on top for initial softness and long-term comfort. Well, I don't know about that, but they are very, very comfortable. And it's got acoustic laminated glass and active noise cancellation to keep things very smooth and very quiet. So let's just take it for a quick drive now. Well, I was going to give you the prices, wasn't I? Hang on, let me do that first before we set off, because I can't read them when I'm driving. 3.5 litre engine, V6, 60% new apparently, new parts in this V6, 300 horsepower at 6,400 RPM, 261 pounds-foot of torque at 4,400 RPM, 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, 217 kilometers per hour top speed, 9.4 litres per 100 fuel economy, and it has a revised and updated CVT transmission, we will come to in a minute. The S model is 112,000 dirhams, or $30,500. The SV is 126,000 dirhams, or $34,300, and the SR, this car, is 151,000 dirhams, $41,150. Right. Now, one thing that there is no doubt about this car is the performance. Man, this is like, I remember this as old school Nissan. They have endowed it with tons of performance, and I'm able to demonstrate here because the road is quite, I don't know if I should just put in sport, but you don't even really need to. So just full throttle, there you go. I mean, it's 0 to 100 in less than 6 seconds. And now you see the CVT, you see that droning bit, that's the CVT there. CVTs I really struggle with. Having said that, aside from that acceleration thing, and where this CVT just kind of drones a little bit at the top end, it has pedals. I don't know why it has pedals, but it's actually very well sorted. It is one of the better iterations of CVT that I've driven in Nissan products. So it's less obtrusive, less annoying than other ones. So generally quite good. It's only when you do that you then remember that yes, this is a CVT transmission. But it's definitely a big improvement, this one. The ride is okay. It's a little bit jittery, a little bit on the firm side. I think again because they've set it up quite firm, quite solid to give it that sporty sense. Very refined though, very quiet, very smooth, no real issues whatsoever. Very easy to maintain speed in this car. This is what this car likes to do best of all. It likes to accelerate quickly, get up to speed, and then cruise. It can cruise long distances. I imagine you can go across Saudi and across Abu Dhabi, Dubai in this car. Long distances, no issue whatsoever. Very, very comfortable cruiser. And even at this sort of speed, you can put your foot down and there it goes. You can see, you can feel the belts and the CVT kind of moving and trying to get the torque across, but but it's not too bad. I mean, unlike other CVTs, this one doesn't feel like it's sapping the power so much. You do get a sense of that in some of the other CVTs, but not in this one. It does feel like it's giving the engine its head and letting it do what it does. Which in this case is deliver fairly solid get-go. The one thing that maybe I struggle with perhaps is the steering wheel, or the steering actually, not the steering wheel. The steering wheel is nice, no issues there. The steering, because the feel isn't really there. I think it's electric steering on this car. And it has a kind of variable ratio thing, I think. So sometimes it kind of, you can't quite be sure how much turn or how much lock you need when sort of accelerating out of a corner, and it can suddenly catch you out. But that's like full acceleration. That's like if you floor it. Now, talking of flooring it through this corner, the grip is very, very good. Sorry about the stuff flying around in the back of the car. The grip is very, very good. But you do have some understeer as you would expect from a saloon, so it's not quite as pin sharp as a sports car would be. But on the other hand, what it does remind me of quite a lot is sort of a largish hot hatch. It does get a bit of torque steer from the steering wheel. It does get a little bit of kickback. I know I said there wasn't feel, but you do get the torque steer coming through the steering wheel, and you get that little bit of that sort of fun aspect, or slightly hooligan aspect of the torque being put down through a corner in a hot hatch. This is what this kind of feels like a little bit. It's weird actually, because you get a sense of it being a GT cruiser, a GT sports saloon, and at the same time it does this thing which kind of reminds you a little bit of hot hatches. So yeah, there's multiple characters involved in this car. But overall though, what do I think of the car? Did it meet my expectations? Well, I have to say, yeah, I kind of did. I mean, I'm not going to say this is a sports saloon, but what I'm going to say is that it's a very nice place to be. It's a very nice car to look at. I do still think it's a very handsome proposition and a standout sort of car. I can just about live with the CVT. You just heard the step changes there, so it does a good job, or a better job, of mimicking an actual gearbox, or an ordinary torque converter gearbox, I should say. And on the roads, I think it's very suited actually to our environment, and to this region. And it's doing what Nissan used to do best, was to provide these fast saloons, where kids could take out their friends. There's plenty of room in the back. It's comfy. They could go for a run, and they were never going to be short of performance. A little bit of body lean as we negotiate this largest roundabout at not too much speed actually, about 100. I think it's very suited. I think it'll be a very good mile muncher. I think it'll be very adept at providing a comfortable, easy ride to wherever you want to get to. And I think the biggest plus of this car is that it's got style, it's got character, and it's got likability. And I do actually quite like this. I'm not sure that it's a jet engine interior, but a jet fighter interior, but I do quite like the way they've done this interior. So overall, solid, nice, very appealing car. I give it a thumbs up. I like it. Check out more on motoringme.com. Do go and look for us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, where we put up a lot of stuff. Also look for us on YouTube, and if you're watching this video on YouTube, please do subscribe and tell your friends. Thanks so much for watching. This is a sound check, a mic check, to see if this is working. I'll normally do a line, it could be from a film or TV or something. See if you know where this one is from. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery.